Right, hello everybody, this is Artie Mays, and you all wanted to sort of know how I'd done the base pages of my autumn journal, which was this one here. Okay, so I actually, to be honest, I cannot remember what I used for the cover. Okay, I know these are all watercolours. Okay, watercolour paper, thick watercolour paper, I know that. Okay, but what I used on the cover is thicker, and I don't think it's chipboard, so I done a naughty thing where I can stick it back together and had a look, and I have a feeling this was 2 pieces of watercolour stuck together, okay, to create a firmer base. All right, that's all I can think that was. But I am going to use something that I've got had hanging around, okay, or a bit of chipboard. This is thin 1mm chipboard that I used to use on my cutting machine. Okay, so for a cover, you need to, stick 2 pieces together. But for inside the journal, it will be fine, and it doesn't warp too much if you get that side wet and that side wet. So if you do the front, you always have to do the back. That's my only thing with that. Then I've got file folders. They're fairly, these are quite thick again, where again 2 of those would be thick enough for a cover, definitely, and single ones for inside. So I'm going to incorporate different papers in this one because that's what I want to do. All right, so it won't be exactly the same because that was the one I'd done. Here was all watercolor paper inside, which I think we can utilize what we got around us because watercolor paper isn't cheap. Okay, so that's what I decided I'm going to do with this one. All right, and any packaging paper, as long as you sand the pages down, and gesso them and things like that, and then cover them, they should be okay. But the thing is, with that shiny surface, it can start to peel off. So that's what I'm going to do. That, and then this is some water paper. I don't like working with the watercolor paper that's got the ridges on, so I don't mind covering that up. Because this is that's another one that I don't like. This is my preferred choice. I like mixed media paper. Okay, that's what I like. It's quite smooth. So that's what I tend to use. So I'm going to incorporate a couple of those as well. Okay, that's another textured one. I really don't like those to work with. And this is, yeah, another one. So they're going to be my inserts. That was the watercolour paper I use, which is it's not too bad. But some of these can be £8 and £12. Well, I can't warrant paying that for it. So this one was £3.89. Does the job, nothing wrong with it. So if you're in the US, I suggest you get some cheap watercolour paper. And this one is absolutely ancient and it's all stained up. Okay, but I'm going to use some of this as well. All right, because it needs using up. And also the back of these will do for the cover. Okay, so again, you've got your chipboard, and that would be perfect. So I might use all those actually, and then we'll use the back for the cover. Utilize what you've got around you if you can. All right, so that's what the base pages are made out of, and that is what I'm going to do this time. All right, so just pick any kinds of bits and pieces up. We work with it. We'll do a few spare pages. If they don't work out, then it's a bit of paint, it's a bit of cardboard, you can usually salvage it. So we'll have a go. Right, now next I'm going to show you what I'm going to put on the pages. Okay, all right, there's some materials that I use and paper for the backgrounds, because I'm going to cut these out and put them on the base pages. Okay, so that was the orange that I used in the other journal, which is here somewhere. Not there, you see. So that's that one. And also there's behind here, that's a very, very thin cotton with a very, very small print on. Okay, I haven't got any of that left, so I don't know that. This is paper in the background. Okay, with some script on. Some are plain. And that's another scrapbooking paper that's hanging around. So there's, what else is there? There's some, just a picture really there I used. That's another scrapbooking paper. There's ledger paper there. So that's what I look out for. So we do the material, do a couple of pages with material, 2 or 3. This is what I've chosen. This material is from one of the, you know, the sample packs that you can buy. Well, they usually give them away, you know, if you ask in fabric stores. They usually got some, or you give a small fee and they let you have them. This I found that I thought was very interesting, you know, to use the green bit up here, you know, which I thought would would give some really nice texture. So I thought, oh, that might be interesting to use that on a page. This is the thin cotton fabric that I had, and I thought, well, that's, you know, again, quite autumny and might look nice. Yeah, and then bits of jute I've got. Not sure whether I use it, I don't know, but I just get it there in case I want it. I always have some cardboard. Also, this is a Tim Holtz Ideology, you know, tag thing that has something on it, and I'd already sort of gessoed it and put texture paste on it previously, so it's in my stash. But it's, you know, they are quite thick, and I think I don't really want it that thick, but they do, you can separate them. So I was having to play around, and I thought, well, actually I'm going to use some of that, you know, so I'll have to do it a little bit better, but surely I can get the top layer off that and just use that, because I quite like that. So that's something else. Some handmade paper that I might use. Okay, that's all bits and pieces there. Let's say I buy it cheap. That was 50p, look. Flower pressed paper, that was 50p, that was. God, I remember paying a lot of money for that. That's some printables, some scrapbook paper. Okay, within the colours that I want to use. Right. I mean, they're sort of like, they're still in my stash. I haven't gone and bought them, you know. Textured paper. All here. Some more handmade paper with leaves in. More scrapbook paper. This is just like crinkled gold paper. So I might use that a bit in a page and then keep the rest to actually use in the journal. Do you see what I mean? So we've got some of the colour. This, I mean, I like the pattern of this, but I don't like the colour. So I thought that'd be ideal to use because we could alter it. And this is some of my printables that, you know, has been left over. This is an envelope where I think I could use that bit there on the page. Doesn't matter, all that bit. It's just, I think it was oversaturated or something was wrong with that printout. These here you could use. This one was part of the Dragonfly kit, I think. Yeah, been tea stain, but I haven't used it, but it's hanging around. Yeah, so I could use it. Another one. Yeah. Use any of those. These bits, definitely. All autumny. Then we have some plainish things that we could use. And some ones, these ones I think went wrong. Okay, I don't, it's either that they went wrong or I didn't use that, I changed the page. Yeah, and I printed it out and thought, oh, that didn't look nice, so I changed the page. So that's where they come from. And I just tea stain them up. Some sort of like invoice paper that I printed, you know, like there as well. It's all printed. These you can get on Graphics Fairy. Some music sheets as well. If you haven't got any, then print them out. That's that. So I won't use all these. This is just in my pile of bits that I use. Printable ledger paper. there, and then we come to the, you know, like the real music paper, which you can't beat it because it's totally different texture, you know. This, I don't know, I was playing around with the stamp and I would use that. So again, dictionary paper, 4 bits. This is, this is a scented liner that I ended up, you know, not smelling anymore, so I stained it up and I'm thinking I'm going to use that. I know it's autumn, but I've done that on that page, didn't I? And I ended up really liking it. Do you see what I mean? So it's not the same one, but you know, that was my thought, and it's pink. But hey ho, so what? Looks good. So I thought, well, we have to introduce a little bit of pink. So that's that. This is the autumn kit and stuff that misprinted again I'll use. And here, this is envelopes I used to do for Happy Mail. So I quite like that because it's all autumn colours. This is jelly print that I never finished. Again, this is all scrap bits of paper. Okay. Some really nice texture there. So I quite like these. Definitely going to use some of that. Definitely. I love all these. That's the ones I sort of chose, really. Maybe one of those script ones I quite like. I quite like that too. No, I use that one. Yeah, and then you've got printable newspaper. Yeah, that's always handy. Yeah, and then you've got book pages. That's what I use for mopping up. Odd bits of paper. This book page. Some whatever on. That's something that I ended up with sunflower and I didn't use, or I ripped out because, I don't know, because I did. There's some more paper there that could be utilised. All in the colours. Yeah, and it's quite nice to have this, see this ping of colour sometimes. Yeah, I quite like that. Yeah, that's printable newspaper. That's some just printed background paper. This I know, I usually rip these in half because I know it's not in any of the kits because it's, I didn't incorporate that, but I quite like all this. Nice, that's the sunflower kit. Well, it's beautiful, so I am going to use a piece of that. And this is authentic, original ledger paper, which again, you can't beat. So I will going to use a bit of that. Rip it. Right, okay, so that's what I use on that. Was the background. So I shall get sorted and rip some down, and then I'll show you what we're going to do next. Okay. I nearly forgot the paints, didn't I? And that's quite an important part, and gesso, of course. Okay, now what I do, I get the greens and the browns. I've got some really old stuff here that really needs using up. Okay, and I know my special ones I bought, which I will show you. I actually got one of those as well. This one here. Now that I reckon this little pot, which is a 30ml pot or a 1 ounce, 1 fluid ounce pot, that was about £10. Okay, I couldn't find it anywhere any cheaper. And I think it's absolutely disgusting, but it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So I haven't got any other, you know, I don't know where to get it from any cheaper. So, and I've still got a bit left, so I will use that. But I've bought stuff since. I haven't used any of this. Slightly different, but again, it's got this oxide thing in it that's supposed to be sort of nice. I don't know. And I got transparent raw umber. That's the two things I know I bought that weren't cheap. Okay, but they do give that real rich colour. I know, it's lovely like this. And it's beautiful, which you'll see as we go along. All right, but that's all I bought. That was last year, of course, you know, and I do use it a lot actually because I love it, but very limited. I just dip my finger in it because I love it. But so that's that. So I of course I have a bit of black, white, gesso, definitely. Don't forget that. This is quite nice. This titanium buff or buff titanium, because it's not too white and it sort of blends in nicely. I also get like a retarder, or you can thin it out with water as well, because I find it makes it a little bit more, acrylic paint a bit transparent. Okay, these are really old, but I thought I'd use them up. Okay, greens, I know, you can see why I don't, I have a problem with green, because that was literally all the greens I have. Oh, didn't I get, no, so that's it. These ones are, see, this one is quite nice, and this was cheaper. This was $7.99, but that's a lot. And a heavy body one. This is like a liquid one, but it's got that. It's this here, and I can't say it. Quinacridone, something like that. I'm tired. I can never get that name right. So that was that one I bought, and this one was transparent red oxide. Now these are all. This was only £5. You see. So, and since getting the little one, this one, I sort of every time I go anywhere, I always look to see if they've got this name here, or that name in any of the paints, and then if they're cheaper than that, then I buy them. But like I say, that's all I've got. Got a bit of gold here, got bronze, but I won't use all these. I'll just pick most probably 3 and 4 colours out of it. But what I do first is I will get a piece of card, and I will put every colour on that card and see whether I like the look of it. Okay, so I'll just put a little tiny brush, brush it out. We don't need to do it with the white and black, because we know those colours. Okay, so, and I'll keep these all in there until I've chosen my colours. Then I'll put those away, and then I will stick with the ones that I've got. Okay, and this stops you getting too, oh, I don't know what colour to use, or, limit yourself, because look at that, that's too much for anybody to use. Okay, so, but I'm just going to do a test piece first, see what colours I like, pick them out, put the rest away, and keep the others in there. All right, and I suggest that's the sort of thing you do to stop you, because we have too much stuff around us sometimes, and I think it can play with our heads, especially with paints. Right, well, that was that. So some of those are like 20, 30 years old, those paints. So I think that's definitely going to use some of that green. Okay, right, I'll go and get a piece of paper a minute first and show you what I mean. Okay, that's what I've done, just so that I can see my colours that I like. And definitely not pistachio, all right, but I was quite pleased with this colour here, okay, because that was that one that was really expensive, yeah, and it's sort of in between these two, which I wondered if we mix those together we might get that one, and that was the cheaper ones of these. So that was that one there, and that was, a minute, is that right? Burnt orange, sorry, the other way around. That was that one. And that was that one. So that was the rich transparent red oxide, and that was burnt orange. But I reckon that and that would make that. And that was this one here, the Deco Art one, fluid acrylics. And then you can pick those up quite reasonable. So that was that one. So I think we could, mix that together. Right, so this is what I've chosen. We need two sort of, that's transparent raw umber, and this is a burnt umber. I hope you can see that, sorry. Right, and then the two greens, that's a little bit bright, but I quite like that one. That's fine. That was that really old one, but I struggled to see what the name of it is. Something emerald, I think, but it's 335, system 3. I think they just still do this system. So, but I want to use that one up, and that's the sap green, which is cheap anywhere. I mean, pound shop paints, I think these are those ones, but that's quite nice. Okay, so that's what I've chosen. All right, and go from there really. So then, and of course the neutral colours, the white, the black and all that. Well, that's just, I'll show you that in a bit. And gesso. Okay, so they're all going to go in my pot. Now the bronze, I actually didn't think that much to it, but it might be okay to add a bit of that. Okay, I don't know, not that bronzy really. It's bronze, but it's nothing going on there. That gold was nice. Okay, so yeah, there's our colours we're going to use. Okay, and black and white. Okay, I'll be back soon. Right, okay, well the pages, I measured the pages of the other one because I couldn't remember at all, and the actual cover was 8.5 by 6.25. Okay, so we know we need everything smaller, slightly smaller than that. Yeah. So I'll do, it's quite hard, some of this paper to actually, you know, tear, to be honest, but right, let's, oh, have I got the right measurements on? Yeah, okay. So I'll do the height first, or, so we want it, so I'm going to go sort of like 8.25, which will be fine because we know the cover is 8.5, so it's there. And this way we need it about 6, don't we? Which is, I think that's halfway, I think. Yeah, it is. So yeah, that's all half. So I'm going to just fold that and then rip it. Okay, and then rip the top. I'm going to do it with one of these at the top, so it's just not too ripped, but that looks good. Yeah, and then we've got a template to do the rest, really. Right there, tiny bit wonky that one, but I don't mind. It's very organic, so okay, and then work out, see, I quite like the way that looks. It's come together already. Okay, so that's 1, 2, well, how many pages did I do? I can't remember. So we've got the one, I've put, that was an extra one in actually, so that was extra, but I'll say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 10 pages. Okay, and then you have some little, you know, in here, 10 pages, and then you'll have some little inserts. Yeah, like that. So that's fine. So we do 10 of these. Yeah. So I shall be back when I've done those. Okay, I've done all the pages. Okay, I've done a couple of extra, so, and cut another one in half again, so I've got some smaller ones that would go in like that. Okay, and what I've done the cover as well, which I made that 8.5 by 6.25. All right, out of some backing of the watercolor paper, and there's a little bit uneven there, so all I do is literally just do that. That's all. Let's get the neater edge. It's so hard to cut this stuff. It's really thick. That's all right. I don't mind any of that. Again, it's a art journal. It's not a, doesn't have to be perfect. Okay. And that's the cover. All right. And what I've done here, I'm going to do them totally random. I'm not going to place any of them yet. Some of them might actually have to come down a little bit. I'm not sure, should be all right, but you know, I like all these different edges going on. And I usually try and sort of get them placed a little bit, but it all changes. Okay, so what we need to do next is, I'm just going to keep them all like that. I know there's one that was a little bit shorter because I wanted that one at the front. Right, what I thought I'd do is get this pages sorted first, so I sort of knew where I was. I had to have a little think because I actually can't remember when I done it, what I done. So this I've ripped the back off, so I can use that now, and I definitely want to use that. We've got loads of lovely texture there. Okay, and I've sort of just ripped all the pages that will just, they're all sit in, you know, in the size. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is go through, oh, and I picked out some material. I've got 4 pieces of material as well that I'm going to use. All right. And I'm going to sort of see where I want things, basically. Okay, because I quite fancy that. I mean, normally it's quite random. I've done the other one quite random, but I'm drawn to doing it not so random this time. Like, I would quite like that there and that there. Do you see what I mean? So I find that's quite important to me, that sort of thing. That would work like that. And then another one here perhaps, which could be that, and that would look nice together, wouldn't it? Okay, but I think that might just need to be trimmed down a bit more. Okay, so that's cool. And then I love this one. Oh, I must do Tim Holtz, without a doubt. So let's do that. That was quite nice. And then, so miss a page, all right. And we'll do that. It all changes, but I'm just trying to get a feel for it at the moment. I quite like that on there. There's one on that one. That there. That doesn't go at all, but that does. So I might do all material on that bit, because that is great that way. And then that one would go there. Okay, so why I've done that is because the pages that we're going to stick that to, I'm only going to paint around the outside. No point in painting in the middle. Do you see what I mean? So I'll just do sort of like 1.5 inches round, leave the middle plain. So that's why I was sort of getting a feel for where everything went, so I knew what to paint. All right, I quite like that way. I love this one. It's amazing. It's really good. Yeah. So if you can see what I mean there, so that's that. I mean, we could find something for there, but I don't need it. Sometimes it's quite nice to have a plain page. All right. Right, so now I'm going to, yeah, I love that. That's really good. I love that. It's great. Might need to iron that, but it might. I'm just going to cut that down, wasn't I? Because that's a tiny bit too wide. It should flatten out as you glue it down, actually. I'll just trim that bit off. That's better. Okay. Lovely job. So the next bit we're going to do is the painting. So I'll leave that for today because that's quite a lot we've got through. All right, and all prepped ready. All right, so I'm now going to put that together like this. All right, so I know what I'm doing. All right, for when I think, right, I only need to paint around there, and then the back. Oh, wasp. Ooh. They always love me. Sorry, there's a wasp in here. I don't like them because they sting. Right, okay, I'm back. It's still in here though. Oh gosh. Oh well, never mind. So anyway, as I was saying, that's all ready. Okay, so that's as far as I got, and that's where I got to leave it today because I've actually got to take my daughter somewhere now. So I shall speak to you again tomorrow. Bye for now.